Do my bangs look straight? Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. I am still just a tad under the weather. I think my face looks a little flushed. My nose is a little puffy, but I am here. It's Friday afternoon, and we were very lucky because it's State Fair Day here in Tampa, so we had the school day off, which was blessed for me because after a major allergy attack last night, I went to bed feeling sick. I've pretty much been tinkering at the computer deck today, sick. So hopefully I'll be feeling better tomorrow because there's no gym day today. Now then, if you are new to this channel, I would like to welcome you. We pretty much sit around. We like to listen to Dave Ramsey's phone calls regarding pretty much everything under the sun. So we hope you will stick around for this. I'm so glad you are here and spending part of your day with me. For those of you who are returning, you know already, you are family. Kick up your blanket, get your allergy medication. I'm on doses of it right now. No dose. Remember, don't take allergy medication and drive, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this video. I figure I better get this up early because I don't know if I'll be awake later today. Okay, so we're going to have an early chit chat. I might be up tinking around tonight. Never know. Okay. So let's take a look at this. We make $190,000 a year and we live paycheck to paycheck. This just ran 6 months ago. So in the world of finance, that's like nothing. Okay. And you know, we look at all videos, old, new, doesn't matter. Okay. We make $190,000 a year. We live paycheck to paycheck. Just to give you some context, I'm a school teacher. I live by myself. I make $60,000 a year, gross, a little over 60. And I put about 30% of my income away into retirement after becoming completely debt-free September 2023. So that gives you some context of what I'm reacting to here. All right. Again, I am so glad you guys are here. Let's go ahead and do this.
Let's go to Preston, who joins us now in Dallas, Texas. Preston, how can we help?
Hello, Preston.
Hey, how's it going, Ken? Thank you all for having me this morning.
Sure.
I'm a married guy with 3 kids. We got a good income of about $190,000 a year.
I would call that good. I'd call that excellent.
But it seems like we are hemorrhaging money through our miscellaneous budget item and our food item.
All right, everybody, just hold for a second. I need to go run and get something to drink because you know what I realized? I forgot a beverage and I need one, especially being sick and my throat's kind of dry. So we all going to pause while I go grab my beverage real quick. Hold on. Okay, that was painless. Let us continue. So this is a married guy, 3 kids, and they're hemorrhaging money is what I think he said.
We've got one car loan. We've got about $12,000 left on that. I've got some medical debt. We had a child this year, so we've got about $6,000 there. And then we've got just some student loans left over that amount to about $4,500, and then a mortgage that's about $200,000 left. So total debt is about $222,000. We make, $185, $190, and it feels like at the end of the month we just have nothing left. I really just kind of wanted to get some insight on what should a family spend, monthly in a miscellaneous item, maybe in the food budget, but we are just spending pretty much what we earn. And, we've gone up in salaries over the last 5 years tremendously. We've doubled what we make, but we're still spending everything we make.
Yeah. You want to know how to stay on a budget? Ask a school teacher. I don't mean just me. Ask school teachers. Some of the people who retire the most comfortably. Yes, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. School teachers. You know why? Because school teachers, we have to learn to not just run our personal life within a very limited but steady budget. We also have to run a classroom. I have to actually look at, what am I bringing into my classroom in materials, supplies? What am I asking of administrators to give to me? Am I maximizing what I have in my classroom? Yes, everything from as little as I don't let the kids draw with expo markers except for twice a year. That's just before we break for Christmas, they can decorate the board that they like with the expo markers. The expo markers are those really expensive markers that teachers use to write on the whiteboards. They're also allowed to use the expo markers to decorate again at the end of the school year. Like on the last day, they want to write their notes. Why don't I let them use it in between? It's not because I'm being a witch, and I have to actually tell this to the kids because, if teachers use it, kids want to play with it because they see it as a toy. Those expo markers are expensive. Kids also tend to leave the caps off. They dry out. Well, now you have a dead expo marker. So I could take a $15 package of expo markers and have them be gone and dead. Not because the kids steal them. They don't do that. But it's just, they're I teach middle school, okay? They leave the caps off. They don't put the caps on, tight enough, okay? That's what it's about. So I have to explain to the kids, they're really not toys. The kids see the expo markers as toys. I see it as a teaching tool that's limited. It's a resource that I need to be able to do my job. In this particular case, that's why I'm saying, and I wasn't not saying it flippantly, okay? I mean sincerely. You'll want to know how to do a family budget? Ask a school teacher. They'll help you. I pretty much guarantee it. Now, that doesn't mean to say that, school teachers can't, mismanage their budget. Of course they can, okay? I had my $110,000 student loan debt because I didn't understand that, okay? So, but in general, school teachers, yes, just the classic traditional school teachers, tend to retire very steady. They don't retire rich, okay? But we retire solid if we get our ducks and our cards and all of that lined up correctly.
And so I cannot figure out how to get over that hump.
Yeah, it's the classic lifestyle creep, right?
Thank you, Miss Rachel, the ever so lovely Rachel Cruz. That's something else to discuss here. Lifestyle creep. I did my taxes. Just got done filing them with my part-time job and my regular teaching job. It's grossed about, hold on. I told you I have allergies. I think I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. Okay, false alarm. I told you I'm battling allergies, so we're just all going to have to be flexible with me here, okay? Severe allergies right now. Let's talk about lifestyle creep. So my gross income for 2023 was $70,000. Okay, like I said, teacher pay is pretty public, so it's no secret. Okay, if I was in some public job where nobody could know what I make, I'd feel differently about it. But if you want to know what a teacher makes with so many years and experience, you can just look it up. It's available by the state. So I make in the low 60s with my teaching job. Plus, I have a little part-time job on top of that for about another, 6, 7. So I grossed 70,000 last year, but I live as though I still made around 50,000. Yes, I didn't allow lifestyle creep to ever come in. Now I learned this the hard way, 2 bankruptcies, divorce, and those bankruptcies involved credit card debt when I was in my 20s, a car I couldn't afford in my 30s. Okay. But by the time of 56, I think I got my, act together. But I still live literally as if I made 50,000 right there. Because in the time I've been divorced, which is almost 10 years, my income has gone up. Okay, in the decade that I've been divorced. But what I do is every time I've gotten a raise, I push the raise down. Now, this is just for me. Not everybody agrees with this. Fine, do your thing. I prefer to overpay my taxes. Okay, I am not one of those people who goes, my goal is to have it be zero. I might owe some, I might get some back. No, my goal is to always overpay. This is just my preference. I always say, there's not a right way and there's not a wrong way. Get different ideas as to why people do the things they do, and you may find it does or does not meet your needs. Okay. I totally understand people saying, my goal is to get a zero tax return, zero owed, zero owed back. No, my goal is to get a large tax return. What I have done, and I've done this for years now, okay, since the time I've been divorced, I guess you might say, about 9 years. Every time I've gotten a teacher pay raise, I take that and I overpay my taxes. So my base pay always remains the same. That's my goal. My goal is that my take-home paycheck should be the same today. Okay, what's actually written on my check that I get to cash. My goal is that my take-home paycheck should be about the same, within $100, not more than what I made when I made about maybe 52,000 a year. Okay, I won't take it all the way down to 50. I say probably around 52, 55,000. So the last 10,000 per se, let's just say right around there, maybe a little less than that. That is all overpayment. That would be lifestyle creep if I didn't just shove it into what I call my imaginary Uncle Sam bank account. Okay. Then what happens is at the end of the year, Uncle Sam gives me that money back. I use that as an opportunity to do what I call major financial moves. What do I want to do with that? Do I need it to go towards an unexpected bill? Okay. Do I need it to, my goal is to use it to save for retirement. What happens is, and I think this family is a classic case, is they get more money. So that lifestyle creep, as Rachel says, they spend more money. All of a sudden, what you had wasn't good enough. Now you need to upgrade it. All of a sudden, you managed to live without something for years and years. Okay. And now that you've got extra money, now you need it. And it's also separating the needs from the wants. So in my case, if you were to look at my take home paycheck, okay, my actual take home paycheck is about the same as it was 10 years ago, even though I take home well more than 10,000 a year more. I'm not lucky enough to say, my income doubled or tripled, but still, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. So all my part-time job money goes into my, what I call year-end Uncle Sam savings account. I don't see any of that stuff. All I want to see is what I was living on 10 years ago. That's what I want to see. And now my goal is to save about 16,000 a year into savings. And again, this is on one single school teacher income. And that 16,000 a year should be very easy to do at this point.
Right? It's just a little bit here and there. And over time, that starts to become your norm. And then you just add a little bit more, and then you look up and you're exactly, what you're saying.
Or you can do it the way I do it. And maybe there's just a different savings method that other people would use. It doesn't matter how you choose to save it or even where it goes. It's the fact that you're saving it. And I think Ramsey's talked about that before. It's not even matter what stock you invest in, what mutual fund you go to. That's less important to a certain extent than is the fact that you are saving it. That's the first step is, can you save it? So I make sure that every time, I get a little extra pay, I go, my paycheck's getting too high. You see, instead of going, oh, my paycheck's getting higher, what more can I spend? I go, oh, my paycheck is getting higher. I need to increase that savings account. I shouldn't be living on more per month than what I lived on, okay, when I was in the low 50s. The other thing that I do is, for instance, I have no more mortgage. Yes, I have an HOA, but I don't have a mortgage and I don't have student loans. Okay. I have no mortgage. I have no student loans. Between those two, that's $800. I live my life though, as if I was still paying it. And that money goes into savings. Okay. So there's $800 right there. Now, even with those two bills, even if I had them, I would still put away at least, let's just say, on a school teacher salary, I would still try to put away $300 a month. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a lot, but again, we're talking about, are we at least saving? So I know that even if I had my mortgage payment at $400, even if I had my student loan at $400, I would still save $300 a month for savings. So that's now 8 plus 3. So we're now at $1,100 a month. Okay. Now I also have a part-time job. The part-time job is not critical to my living. So let's just say I make an extra $300 a month at my part-time job. Again, I'm thinking after taxes and all of this stuff. Okay, so we're 11, 12, so there's now about $1,400 that I've got. That's a savings account. I haven't even had to change my living standard. It's how you think about money. Instead of sitting there and going, oh my goodness, I need to try to come up, with $1,400. I just simply look at what bills did I used to pay, but I was still able to survive on. Why not take those bills and now turn that into a savings account? I save approximately $1,500 to $1,600 a month, and I can't even feel it. The reason I can't feel it is because all I did was take the money that used to go to the mortgage, that used to go to the student loan, okay? The money that the overtime, not my overtime, that my part-time job pays for. All I did was take that money, add it all up. The savings account I would have still saved for. I packaged that all up into one package. And lo and behold, that sucker comes to like $1,500 a month. I keep living and spending as if I still had those bills. Right? That's how I'm able to save $1,600 very easily. In fact, we're only in February. And just the tax return that I will get for 2023. And again, I understand it's because I intentionally overpaid. Almost half of that $16,000 goal is met. I can't even feel the savings. And I guess this is what I want to share with you guys is, when you sit there and you say saving is hard, every time you get rid of a bill, keep your life going as if you still had to pay that bill. You still had to pay that bill, but you're just going to take that bill and you're going to turn it over to savings. So about $1,400-$1,500 is what I put away per month. And you're talking again, let me remind you, single school teacher. Yes, my living is modest, but that's part of the package deal. Instead of increasing my living, if I really wanted to, I could now say, hey, you know what? Let me go get a bigger condo now. I could do that quite easily at this point.
Preston, are you guys doing a very detailed budget?
Very detailed. I am in accounting, which is kind of ironic that I'm not good at accounting.
No, it's not ironic. We've seen enough videos where just because you're in accounting, just because you're in banking, and you're hired to do somebody else's stuff means squat about you being able to do it. It's kind of like this. It's kind of like teachers who can teach other people's kids how to read and write, but they can't teach their own because sometimes there's too much emotional involvement in it. So they need somebody else to do it. I think what happens with accountants and bankers is kind of the same thing, perhaps. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I could see it where it becomes, you're making a financial decision for someone on a job that you're being paid to do. That's not emotionally affecting you. You all of a sudden have to put on your budget. I can't afford to send my child to this school that he or she wants to go to. How does that reflect on me as a parent? There, now the situation changes.
My own expenses, but we set a food budget of, let's say, $1,500 to $2,000 a month, and then you sit there and go, hey, we just spent $3,000 on food.
$2,000 for food? Are you? Oh my God! Where's my fan? Are they having filet mignon every night? $2,000. Yes, I understand they're a family of 5, but maybe some of you that are watching this, if you'd be so kind to share, because I don't have a family, is that a lot of money for a family of 5? My gut instinct says that's a whole lot of money, but maybe some of you can just, let us know. Maybe it's totally reasonable and I'm just out to lunch, but let me give you an idea. Even though I'm debt free, that exceeds my cost of living by leaps and bounds. I could add up all of my debt, every single debt, from car lease that I pay to property taxes, the hair appointment, everything. Okay. My entire cost of living is hundreds of dollars below that. So $2,000 sounds like they're eating pretty luxuriously. Maybe somebody could say, I might be wrong.
And you sit there and go, how are we doing that? Well, as George would like to not hear, we eat out all the dang time.
Yeah,
there you go. That explains it. But I would still like to hear from people, that have, families. Doesn't even matter if you have 1 or 2 kids, $2,000. I'm just like, Jesus, you could give me 3 kids and a spouse and I wouldn't know where to spend $2,000. I would not know where to spend it. People want to know why school teachers can retire more comfortably than people who have made a lot of money, because school teachers don't do this. Now, again, we're not saying all, okay? But you can look it up. Dave's even talked about it. Statistically, school teachers retire much more comfortably than a lot of people who have worked in industries that made significantly more money. This is why. Matter of fact, I'm going to make me, if I feel up to it today, I'm going to make me some Paula Deen macaroni and cheese from scratch. We don't spend a lot of money eating out. And you know the thing about eating out that I've always observed? It's such a here, now, gone in 30 minutes. At least if I'm going to spend $2,000, give me some comforters that are going to last me the next 10 years. I like my money to last. I really, really do. And for me, food is just one of those things. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. Now, don't get me wrong. My ex-husband was a chef, and there is an art and appreciation for the things that are created. I get it. Okay. I get it. Okay. But when it comes to just every day eating out, it's not something that I highly value. And we're talking, they're just doing everyday meals. They aren't going out to restaurants for special occasions. Well, they are. They're doing that plus the everyday meal. But if he were to actually look at what he does, what his family does, are these meals memorable? Do these meals bring you great satisfaction? Do you look back and go, man, that Wednesday night at Chick-fil-A, that was really one special moment? Or is it just, oh my God, we're tired, it's Wednesday night, somebody grab me a burger at Chick-fil-A and let's go? The other thing with eating out is it's gotten ridiculously expensive. Do you know Taco Bell? I've only been to Taco Bell, I think maybe twice in the last year. Okay. My fast food, if I'm going to have one, is ramen noodles that I make at home. Okay. Another one is I love Costco's shrimp. Okay. I can pull out 6-7 pieces of shrimp, get some rice, put that on, have a little green salad with it, protein drink. We all good to go. Okay. That's my idea of cheap eating out. But if this caller, what's his name? Preston. If Preston really thinks about the $2,000 they've spent on food, how much of that was memorable meals? So if you're not going to pay for memorable meals, why don't you just make it at home? Just simply make it at home. It just seems like such a waste of money to me to just go to Applebee's all the time and drop, $40, $50. And did you get anything out of it? Probably not.
That's it. That's it. I mean,
we got a new baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go out to eat. It's easier.
I know.
And we all know that we're going to spend way more there than we do eating at home. But
yep.
It's really just frustrating to be.
Well, that's what's hard about this, Preston, is with personal finance, we always say it's 80% behavior, it's 20% head knowledge. So you have the head knowledge of the numbers down with the budget of here's what we're going to do, but then you guys are not living on the plan that you've created. You're going over $1,000 in food. You're throwing, a few $100 here or there throughout the month on all this.
And I'm willing to bet that both he and his wife are both responsible for this. Okay. It almost makes me have to ask myself a question, which I will share with you. Would you rather make more money and find yourself in this situation of trying to keep up with the lifestyle? Or is it possible that making less money can be better and you maintain a lifestyle that you can comfortably afford? If you know that and that's not to say that making more money means it has to, go down in the fires like this guy is with the $2,000 food budget. But let me give you another idea as to how much money that food budget is. It would take my entire paycheck. Let me go back. Let me think back about, let's just say, a year. Okay. Because I've had pay raises since, the last year. So let me go back before a year. That $2,000 just for food is my entire paycheck plus part of my other paycheck by a few $100. That's just this guy's food budget. Now people say, well, yeah, Carrie, but that's because we're dealing with deeper pockets, which I would say is fine, unless you're calling on the Ramsey show because you don't know how to control it. Sure. Oprah Winfrey can have a bigger food budget than I can. Sure. But she's also not calling on Dave Ramsey saying she can't afford it. That's the difference. People can have a wonderful food budget if you can afford it. But when you're calling on the Dave Ramsey show because you're broke, you can't afford it. But his food budget alone exceeds 50% of my take-home paycheck. and it exceeds it by the hundreds, not just a few bucks. That's a hell of a huge food budget.
This other stuff. And so when you realize that it's more of a discipline problem with you guys and the choices that you're making in everyday expenses, it's sucking the life out of y'all. What I would do, Preston, I would challenge you guys to say, and you know what, if you hold on the line, I'm going to give you the premium version of EveryDollar, because I think EveryDollar is one of the most helpful budgeting tools because it's going to be able to connect.
Why does this guy need the premium version of EveryDollar for free? He can afford it.
To your bank, and you're going to be able to really be able to see in the way they do the paycheck planning and everything. It's a really easy thing to see, and your wife can have the same login, so you guys both have the app on your phone.
I hope she's not doing this to them for free. They don't need it.
And I would practice, Preston, acting like you guys make 80.
Or practice that you're a school teacher and you're living on 70. 62 is my base. The difference is my part-time job. Do we see here, folks, what's going on? You've got someone who makes more than 3 times my base income. More than 3 times. And is struggling. Now somebody could say, yeah, but you live in an 840 square foot condo and you drive a Toyota Corolla. Yes, and I also save 30% into retirement. I don't have to call into the Dave Ramsey Show because I'm broke. I do commentary shows on the Dave Ramsey Show. There's something wrong. Maybe wrong's the wrong word. I think what people look at as role models when it comes to money, they look at the wrong people. We look at people who live in big houses. We look at people who drive fancy cars. We look at people who go to, that they can afford really, really expensive schools. We look at people who hold, prestigious titles and stuff. And we, as an American society, we look at people who consume. We look at that. That's what we look at. So when we see something that can actually stay in its budget and it doesn't look anything like what we've been told we should look at, we kind of don't know what to do. I had someone tell me that, what was it? My condo's paid off, but then they made the comment of, yeah, well, it's not a house. So does that change it any? Okay, so I don't have a brick and mortar house. I live in a condo. I prefer it. I have 2 bad knees. You think I want to go out and deal with gutters? Absolutely not. But to me, that's just someone who really has a hard time admitting debt. But what we are trained to look at how people spend their money, and we're supposed to ooh and ah and okay, all that. Then look at how they save their money. And then they look at somebody, I'll just use myself as an example. They look at someone like me, okay, $70,000 a year. I live 840 square feet. When that is the reality of what I need to do if I'm going to save 30% so I can have a couple $100,000 saved up in the next 12 years. To put into annuity, to attach to my teacher retirement, to attach to my Social Security. This is what I have to do. The bling bling that this caller lives in with his family, I'm sure is impressive to many people. Oh my goodness, you go out and you eat all the time. You don't have to cook dinner. You never have to eat ramen noodles. You've never had breakfast cereal for dinner. Wow, because you're rich. And then we realize the rich are actually broke. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't revel in the glory of it. Oh, thank goodness, to prove a point. But what I ask you to look at is we admire the wrong thing. We have an unrealistic expectation of what a person looks like that lives in their budget. I'm finally, I'm an example of what a single school teacher who wants to save a few $100,000 in just a span of 12 years. Okay, I figured out I'm gonna have to save something like $18,000 a year to hit that 200,000 mark. That's my minimum. That's my rock bottom. I need a $200,000 account. That's rock bottom minimum, and never assuming I got another pay raise. 200,000. I already know I can exceed that. I already know it. It can be exceeded. How do I know it can be exceeded? Because the lifestyle that I'm living right now is the same lifestyle, like I said, I was living almost 10 years ago. That money just simply gets put into the account. Does that give you an idea as to how much money we can waste? When people sit there and they go, oh my goodness, I can't afford to save for retirement. Are you putting the bills that you used to have, that you used to wake up to every day, that were in your life, take those bills and transfer them to a savings account instead? And I don't care if it's through, having Uncle Sam hold it. I don't even care if you go the old route and put it in a CD. Okay? Whatever. It doesn't matter. We have lost track of what it really looks like to live on a $190,000 a year income. What does a $190,000 gross, I'm assuming this is gross, okay? So take home, what does it really look like? What size of house does a person really live in that makes $190,000 a year? How many cars, what car do they drive? What is their real food budget for $190,000 a year? I could look like I make $100,000 a year without even trying. I could look like it. I guarantee it to you. See, my condo right now, I could sell this for about $200,000. Buy for $100,000. I could sell this condo for $200,000 without even trying. I could probably sell it in just a matter of days because this is Tampa, and housing here is tight and considered premium. We have lost track of what a real lifestyle looks like on a real budget so that you don't have to suffer.
Okay.
Act like you're making 80 grand and do a budget off of that and just see what happens. Say, okay, then that means we have to way cut back here. That means these, 18 subscriptions we're paying for, we can't do that. That means maybe the kids that are doing the fun little gym classes every 2 days a week, they're not going to do that anymore.
See, and that's the other thing. You got to be able to explain it to your kids. My mom was really upfront when my parents divorced. She said, guess what? Some of this stuff is just going away. We're not, her priority with us was housing. Keep the roof over their head. Keep them in the same school district. Didn't want to bounce around. And she did. You want a magazine subscription? Honey, I think I was about 15, 16 years old. Get a babysitting job. I did. I got my magazine subscriptions back. You want those designer jeans? Go out and pick some beans during the summer. I did. I got my designer jeans back too. But I learned the cost. Okay? Effort, reward, all of that. They're going to have to explain to their kids and perhaps teach their kids a lesson that their kids aren't used to. And I think it's a good lesson for kids to learn. Versus, we just have limitless money and you can just do anything you want.
You will have to cut back because I want you to take that 80 grand or more, quote unquote. I'm kind of just using a random number, but I want you paying off the student loan, the car loan. I mean, all these loans that you guys have besides your mortgage, you guys could get this knocked out so quickly. And what I love about this, we always just call it gazelle intense because it is deep sacrifice. You are running like your hair's on fire.
But the question, what I see as being one of the determining factors is whether or not this is going to work. He has a spouse. What is she like? Does she buy into this? If he's the only one buying into it, and she's like, well, I'm not going to do all that. Our kids need their 3 private piano lessons a week. And I've said it before on this channel, I will say it again. I think when it deals with debt and couples, you are only going to be as strong as your weakest link. If he has a wife who is the weak link, I'm not saying she is or is not, I don't know. Okay? If he has a wife who is the weak link, this is never going to be achieved. It can't, because someone else has control of the budget. Part of the reason I believe I was so successful is I had control of the budget. There was literally no one for me to blame for the success or failure of it. Nobody. So for 2.5 years, I monitored money like I had never monitored it in my life. And that was when I got this condo. And as you know, if you've watched this channel, I intentionally went for $100,000. I went for a condo that was way less than what I could afford. Clearly, if I have an extra $1,600 a month to save, all right, I clearly bought way less condo. But I had to look at my age. And I had to ask myself, for me to meet a goal of having 200,000 in a savings account in 12 years, I didn't feel it was going to be solid if I had a condo that I needed to pay on that was a couple $100,000. And I thought, if I'll sacrifice the fanciness of the housing, it's solid and secure, it's safe and stable, okay? But if I would be willing to sacrifice that, I could put that money instead into a savings account. And that's what I did.
And it's like, it is scorched earth. It's like, we're doing nothing.
My hunch, gut hunch, his wife's not going to buy into this. Yeah, I'm just going with that 56-year-old gut instinct.
Doing nothing, and we're cutting back. And so that means maybe even cutting back more than 80. I was just saying, as a fun mathematical game on the budget, just look to see what you would cut. Start there. And then I would trim back as much as you guys can, Preston, because I want you guys to feel progress with your money. And it feels like you're spinning your wheels. You got all this debt hanging around. You're living still paycheck to paycheck. And there's been no progress. And so in order to get these wins, like, there's some stuff in lifestyle that you will cut, and it'll hurt. It will not be fun. And I know with a new baby, it's like you guys are all exhausted. I get it. But this is the time to do it, to buckle down and say it's now or never.
I'm going to be really honest, okay? I'm just going to take my experience. And maybe it's just my desire to want to not only have wanted to become debt-free, but to maintain my debt-free status, okay? I don't think it's as painful as people think it is. I don't think it's as painful to cut down on your budget as people think it is, so long as the desire to maintain financial control of your life is stronger than your desire to spend. If your desire to spend is stronger than the desire to maintain financial control of your life, then cutting down a budget is going to be hell on earth. But if your desire to save, to be in control of your budget is stronger, it's going to be a welcome relief when you give yourself permission to let parts of your budget go. I give you permission not to have to go to private school anymore, where we have to pay $10,000 a year. You know what? We have public schools, and there are excellent teachers in public schools. I know. Okay? I give you permission to not have to maintain 3 cars. Can we take it down to 2? It's amazing. I want you to change the way you look at your budget. And instead of letting things go and saying, oh my God, it hurts, I have to cut down this magazine subscription, I have to cut out this favorite, Disney Channel or whatever, I have to cut out. I say to myself, this is just a little game I play with myself, okay? I say, you know what, Carrie, you have permission. You don't have to go to the mall this weekend if you don't want. Don't get me wrong, I'm typically at the mall, but I do like to window shop, and I can window shop very much under control now. But when you start to cut out things in your budget that you don't need, if you will change the mind frame in which you look at it, you're all of a sudden going to realize that what you're cutting doesn't hurt. It's actually healing you. That's what you're going to realize. And now you're going to look at this budget, and over time, you're going to keep paying down the debt. You're going to heal that. You're going to heal it. You're not just going to put a Band-Aid on it. Band-Aids, it's things like, well, can I borrow from one account to put the money in the other account before that other account gets hit with the charge? That's just Band-Aiding. I spent most of my life Band-Aiding my finances, not actually healing the wounds of my finances. You got to actually heal it. And it's amazing. And it's an amazing amount of relief when you realize you don't have to keep up. Now, I never was a keep up with the Joneses sort of person. I never was. That I'm very, very grateful for. Image in that case has never mattered to me. But it was still just the whole idea that, for our American consumerist society, we almost want to make people feel like they're being punished because they live below their means, or they're being punished because they don't buy the latest and the greatest. But how much of that is because they just want you to buy? Right? How much of that is just, I just want you to buy the product? Have you ever used a product and then you get to some blog that says, oh my God, that product, you've used a product, it's worked great for years. And then you get onto some blog that says, oh my God, this product sucks. The product you're using sucks. And you're like, well, I didn't know it sucked. It's worked for me. The first thing I do when I see crap like that, I look to see what that new site is selling. And the minute I find out they're selling something, guess what? Out the window, you lose all credibility. I'll give you an example, okay? Because I exercise so much, all right? I have feet issues, all right? So I have to deal with really dry feet because people who work out a lot, we wear exercise socks. Our feet just get dry because of sweating, okay? It's natural, all right? So I use Vaseline on my feet. I put it on my feet before I go work out, all right? Well, I actually just, during my YouTube stuff, my YouTube feed, it talked about this thing comes over saying why Vaseline is bad. And I'm thinking, I'm practically holding on to my sock in my hand and I'm getting ready to put on. It says Vaseline, Vaseline, the clear jelly type stuff that's used on every baby's bottom around the world when it has a rash or something. Okay. Vaseline. All right. One of the staples in at least every hospital in America. Well, this blog or not this blog, but this YouTube channel, I swear to God, in their feed, it said Vaseline's bad for you. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So I actually clicked on it and it talked about how Vaseline clogs your pores, yada, yada, yada. It's not good for you. Meanwhile, I've been using it on my feet for years. Not a problem. And then I went, wait a minute, Carrie. You've been using this for years. You've never had to upgrade. It's cheap. It's affordable. Let's see if they're selling something. And wouldn't you know it? They were selling a product 4 times the cost of Vaseline. And then as I started going through the comments and, section, someone from the Mayo Clinic, and you could tell they were from the Mayo Clinic because they used every technical word I did not know, could barely pronounce, explained Vaseline is totally fine. And it upset her when she saw these type of ads or YouTube channels railing it because she said there's nothing wrong with it. It's a moneymaker. We have to remind ourselves, even I can get pulled just a little bit into the ocean, okay, about how I'm living isn't quite good enough, right? Even I can. This family, this guy here, he continually spends to the maximum. Actually, they spend above because I suspect he and his wife, as they made more money, I'm willing to bet part of it was, wow, well, we need to reward ourselves. We've worked so hard. We've doubled our income. If doubling my income means I all of a sudden become money stupid and I'm just going to get into more debt, then did I really double my income? No. You only doubled your income if you were able to take the money and make it useful for you. Then you can say you doubled your income.
It's for a short period of time because then when all that's gone, Preston, how much is going out in payments for this debt per month besides your mortgage? Do you have that? How much is going out just to debt?
I do. So for our medical debt, we've got a high deductible insurance plan. So we've got an HSA that I've got that set up to wipe that out in the year to where, that doesn't hang around. So that's automatically off the top. And then we've got my wife's car loan that we pay about $2,500 a month on it.
Holy crap.
Jesus. Now look, the only way I would say $2,500 a month car loan is good is if you're making 4 times the payment. Like, hey, okay, her car is really $400 a month, 4, 8, 12, 16. Crap, that's 6 times the payment. But we make 6 times the payment because we're really gonna, knock this out. Okay, I can probably see that. I can see that. But if her base is $2,500, there's the problem. And this, we'll find out in just a minute. But this is why I say, if the wife is not on board with this, their debt freedom ain't happening.
Crap, what kind of car is it?
You're taking some chunks at this.
Whoa.
Oh, you're paying extra. You're paying extra.
Oh, okay.
Payment's only $500.
Okay, all right. So the payment's $500. They're paying extra. Thank God. Okay, we'll swim backwards on that. Okay.
About $2,500.
Okay.
But you sit there and go, I think we've got more in the budget. But we just once we get to the end of the month to make an extra payment, it's not there, and it's just super frustrating.
This is not a hard problem to fix. Quit giving it all to Chick-fil-A, Outback, maybe a McDonald's here and there. If you would just cut down the food budget by 60%, you'd be bringing in the thousands.
Yeah, I mean, it's because you're living like you're making 190 and spending everything. So
Yeah, so let's
They're living like they don't have to ever pay the IRS.
just look at this. What's the smallest debt that you have?
That'd be the student loans. We've got 3 of them for the Sally Mae loans, but they total about $4,500.
Okay, so instead of focusing on the $12,000 car loan, focus on the student loan.
Yeah.
And go ahead and just get that knocked
So
out.
what's the payment? What's the minimum payment on the student loan right now? The 3 of them together, if they're all bunched.
And that's the bad deal is y'all know they're in forbearance, so we haven't even been paying on them. We've been just chunking at her car loan, and I know that's not.
We've had 3 years off. Why would you not take that and go, honey, we got 3 years off. Let's book it. And they could have had it done. I paid off my $50,000 mortgage on this condo in 2.5 years. 2.5 years on a teacher's income. And I wasn't making $60,000 at the time. I was making probably closer to the mid 50s. I did that in 2.5 years on teacher income.
Not what baby step 2 is for that gazelle intensity.
Well, okay.
But we said, hey,
here's the point I'm trying to make.
Joe's gonna,
If you stay with this, and you work this plan, you guys cut. First of all, you need to stop eating out. Like, no more. Like, you guys got to stop. You got to get
Eat
everybody
turkey
on board.
sandwiches at night. Do eggs and bacon for dinner. I mean, like you.
You want to know what a great meal is that I make sometimes? I share it with my neighbors upstairs. It's hard to cook for one. I will be honest. Cooking for one can be difficult, but I just like the taste of homemade food so much better. Potatoes au gratin with sausage or ham. Although sometimes, and I don't add in extra salt because the ham and the sausage have plenty of salt. So I don't put in extra. I omit that from the recipe. Potatoes au gratin with little diced ham. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. So do my neighbors. And I cook it, of course, in a cast iron skillet. It is cheap. Take a potato, slice. Take some cheese, some cream. It's not a diet dish, okay? This is where portion control comes in, people, okay? But do that with some ham. I'm telling you, it is so cheap, so easy. And I put ham in it because you need protein also. Potatoes au gratin, yes.
Could do cheap meals, right, for a season. It's not forever.
You're an account.
No, it should be for forever. And expensive meals should be for special occasions. It's just my thought. Here's my thing. Like I said with food. When that food is done, am I going to sit back and go, that was so memorable? If I'm not going to sit and do that with the meal, then I don't want to pay more than a few bucks for the meal. I don't.
On it. Your issue is not the numbers. The issue is the behavior. And if you guys try it for 1 month and go, you know what, we're all in, we're not going to eat out one time at all, just to see how much money you can save extra. And the point is, we knock out the student loans, then we knock out the car payment, and all of a sudden you've got more margin than you realize.
Why is there something, I'm not going to use the word pathetic. I think that might be the wrong word. This is when I'm short on the appropriate vernaculars to use. Why is it interesting that we are telling people who make damn near $200,000 a year how to budget? Does anyone else find that a little odd? We're telling people 6, 12, 18, 24, 6, 12, 8, who make 3.5 times my income how to struggle, how to cut back, to eat a little less out. This is Alice in Wonderland. This is the rabbit hole, folks. We are in the rabbit hole. Okay? We're listening to telling these people who are in the top bracket, these are your top income earners, how to struggle. It's almost an insult to some extent. I think that's what it feels like. Okay? Not saying I don't mind being a teacher. Okay? That's fine. Okay? Dream job, yada yada. Okay? But there's something about it that just seems stupid. Okay? Trying to tell people who make $200,000 a year how to just really struggle and suffer and how painful this is going to be. What the hell is going to be painful? What's painful? Because you go from eating out 7 days a week to, say, 3 days a week? I don't understand what's painful. If living on a single teacher income in 840 square feet, driving a Toyota Corolla and saving 30%, that's not painful. Not at all. Sure, I'd like a bigger condo. Sure, I'd like a nicer condo. But what I have behind me, the whole place, it's cute. Need to upgrade the kitchen a little bit more. Like to do about a $10,000 job on that. And here's the cool part. I could do it right now if I wanted to and pay for it in cash. See, this is when you know you have debt freedom. When you know if you wanted to make a certain move, you could do it. If I wanted to go, you know what? I want my kitchen upgraded. I do need new cupboards and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not dilapidated and falling apart. It's not like that. But, they're 30 years old. I had them painted when I moved in. But if I was like, you know what? Let's do 10 grand on it. Let's just knock it out and get it done. I could do it. There's just something about somebody in my profession, being an educator and a teacher, and nowhere near this income bracket. And I understood that when I took the job. I understood that was a choice. Okay, so I recognize that. But then listening to someone who makes this type of money, and then them having to be told, oh, but this is going to be such a hard sacrifice. Can you give it 30 days? I just kind of want to stick my tongue out and go.
Here's the deal. I know you're discouraged, but you've got more margin in that budget than you realize. But you've got to change your spending habits. And if you do that, and if we can get some extra income, we sell some stuff in this debt snow.
I want you to think about this, folks. $200,000 a year, and they're going to go through their closet to see what they can sell. This is how teachers can retire in better situations. We may not retire rich. We may not retire richer, but it's stability. And my father taught me that. My mother taught me that. My stepfather, my stepmother, my grandmother. Okay? Straight down the line. All retired educators, all in the field of education, all retired solid. And then I see stuff like this, and I'm just blown away that people in this income bracket have to be told, you need to cut down on those luxuries.
Ball, whatever we got, we can find margin pretty quickly. As detailed as you are, grasping the numbers. You and your wife have got to sit down and go, if we do this, and then we do this, and we do this like crazy for the next 6, 12 months, here's how much progress we'll make. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, this is doable. I think you're just...
These guys should be kicking my ass financially. These guys should be so far above me financially, it's not even funny. They're supposed to be. They make the income.
Just discouraged right now.
And Preston, with I'll add on that for Ken, because this is always helpful for me. Whenever we're doing a big goal, so whether for you it's getting out of debt or it's saving up for something, look at the time frame, run the numbers like what we're saying, and just know and say, okay, we are confident. It's July right now, so we are confident. By dang Christmas, we're gonna do it from now till Christmas. Yeah. It's go time. I mean, or whatever the date is, but have that date, because that gives you the light at the end of the tunnel.
This is all for naught if the wife is not on board with it. If the wife is not on board with this gazelle intensity, he's going to be calling in 10 years later going, well, my kids are now grown. We're 10 years closer to retirement and we have nothing. This is how it starts. Okay? And then before you know it, you got the Dave Ramsey call. Well, we lived a real nice life, but it's just all gone now. One of the things that I did as I was paying off my condo on my teacher income, I made sure that I had rewards built along the way. But I will tell you that about, October last year, I fulfilled one of my biggest rewards for having paid off my condo. After, of course, I also had to save up for the cash. So I had to pay up for the condo, then I had to save for the cash. I had my bathtub remodeled. Completely remodeled top to bottom. I didn't have them tear it out and all that. I did the overlay, which I really, really like. And I would recommend it if you want to get your tub looking better. And it's not where they come in and put, another tub on top of it. Don't do that because that creates water issues. But where they actually come in and they use, it is a high amount of chemicals and stuff. So you may or may not want to be in the place when they do it. Okay. For if you have really serious, allergies and stuff like that. But they basically come in and they basically sandblast down what you've got and they rebuild it from the base on up. So that it doesn't require them to take down the walls and all of that stuff because there was nothing wrong with it construction wise. Whereas I didn't have dry rot or anything like that. They've been tearing down tile and walls that were perfectly good. But it visually wasn't attractive. So I told myself, when my condo is all paid off and, I've saved up another $3,000 to get this procedure done, I'm going to get it done. I am so elated with it. Okay. I find ways, could I get the same thing? It's $3,000 for that, or it's 10, maybe closer to $12,000 to have the shower knocked out, walls poked and built up. But I made sure that these were all built in as part of a reward for having my condo done. People like this, they don't wait for the rewards. They buy immediately. They buy it when they see it, they want it. And there's something to be said for knowing that what you got yourself was a reward for having met a goal. To me, that is much more rewarding. And when I got my tub done, guess what? I didn't have a $3,000 credit card bill. Okay. It was done and paid for.
You're not going to live in this world forever and ever. Amen. You can actually enjoy what you're working, but you're not enjoying your money now because, again, I think so much of it is this debt and so much of it is that lifestyle. Because once you guys pay this off, do you have any savings at all, Preston? Do you guys have cash in the bank?
Yeah, we have some, but not enough to cover any of it.
How much?
We've got our emergency fund, just the starter emergency fund.
Okay, so you got $1,000. That's where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
$200,000 a year, and they have $1,000 in their emergency fund. I have more than that in my emergency fund. We're talking just the pure emergency fund, the stuff that sits in an account. I can get to it really fast. I keep about $2,000 in there. That's just okay. Quick. Speeding ticket class. No, that does not come out of emergency fund, by the way. None of those life wrongs and doings come out of emergency fund. No, that does not come out of emergency fund. That comes out of my stupid fund. Fortunately, the class is only like $60, so I'm really happy about that. But imagine making this much money and you basically have $1,000 in savings, and then the school teacher has $2,000 in savings. That's the difference. That's why I say they should ask a school teacher how to budget.
Can you sell your wife's car?
Ooh, I hope she wants that done. Never a good thing to get off the phone and say to your spouse, honey, I've just got done off the Ramsey show, and guess what? You're selling your car, or you're selling your truck. Yeah, you might want to break that down a little more gently.
We're running out of time, but I mean, you got to look at everything, man. Selling cars, everything,
This will also be a really good test of just how strong this marriage is. I've always believed, a marriage can be great when everything, you can spend as much as you want, no limits, no rules. Yeah, marriages are great. But when somebody says, we need to buckle down those hatches, we are a submarine, we going way down, we need to buckle down the hatches so no water gets in. Now then, who's going to be on that sub with you? They all going to be running to the shore. Something to think about, right? Okay, folks. Wow. This was a fun call. Kind of laid back because, I'm kind of sick. Folks, I probably won't be uploading this evening. I think this is most likely going to be the day's upload. But I could change my mind. This was fun. All right, folks. I really want to thank you for joining me for this Friday's afternoon early bedtime chit-chat story time. I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. Thank you for joining me. I hope you will consider subscribing. You guys have yourself a most wonderful and safe Friday night. Good night, people.